Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Thank you so much for having us on today. We are New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and we are ready to talk to you for the next 2 hours. We're doing 2 programs, and we would love for you to join our conversation. And answering your calls today, your concerns, we've got clinical psychologist Dr. Jill Hubbard in the studio. How are you, Jill?
Hey, Brian. Good.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
And also here is Dr. Jim Burns. He's the founder of Homeward. Hi there, Jim.
Hey, good to be with you. I just learned something new about Jill. We sit within 6 inches of each other on this program.
We are kind of close today.
And her stepdad is like somebody who I love and appreciate. So,
wow.
Yeah,
what
we
a small
learned
world.
something new. It is. It's a new world.
So what else is on your mind today, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Too.
I see actually on the table, our listeners who are watching on YouTube can't see this, but I see on the table you have this sheet that our producer Lisa sent out to us about things that bug people and are bothering people, and a lot of it was about criticism in the family and things like that. And so I decided to actually do the opposite and talk about the power of encouragement today. I want to tell a quick story. Jesus was the amazing encourager, and I don't think we think about him doing it that much. We know he's our Lord and Savior, but he looked at a guy named Simon and said, you know what? Your name is no longer going to be Simon. It's going to be Petros, which means the rock in Greek, of course. A lot of people know this. And then he said, and upon this rock, I will build my church. And what's interesting is he even used a different word. He used the male form for Peter, which means rock. So nobody was named Peter 2,000 years ago. Jesus believed in him to become a rock, and then upon this rock, and who became the leader of the Jerusalem church? I mean, it was Peter. That's the feminine name, the Petra and Petros. Mm-hmm. And so the thing that I think we need to understand is that there are people around us right now who need so much encouragement, and we need encouragement. Okay, but I think we need to find people who can be people of encouragement. I was in my small group today, and we looked around each other. We were talking about this subject, and we all said we are encouraging each other and how blessed we are to have it, because a lot of people don't have that. But we also realized we needed to go out and encourage someone, and so we even said, who is someone to this week we can encourage. And 2 names popped up into my mind immediately, and they're people who I love and who are going through a tough time. And I needed to respond to that act of encouragement. But I also realized I need to lean into some replenishing relationships who will also encourage me. That's not selfish. That's called self-care in a beautiful way. So I'm kind of talking about 2 things today, but the power of encouragement, I wanted to leave us with a great scripture. It says, therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as, in fact, you are doing. And I want to just tell people to be reminded again that that's 1 Thessalonians 5:11, that, we need to be people who encourage one another, and you're doing it. But keep building people up. We don't improve relationships by tearing them down. Yeah. We build relationships by giving affirmation, encouragement, and Jesus is our model. Well, Mark Twain is too, He said, I can live 2 months on one good compliment, and I love that too.
That is good. But how positive of you, Jim, right? Take the positive versus the negative side, and that so speaks of you, because you are an encourager.
Yeah. Well, I want to be that.
I feel encouraged every time I'm around you, and so. But I like that idea of you need people to encourage you too.
Yeah, especially if you're feeling down.
Yeah,
they can call us. We'll encourage them.
Sometimes you have to let people know.
For sure. If you need encouragement, if you need advice for whatever it is you're going through, some kind of a struggle, some kind of a life issue, whatever it is, we're going to be here doing 2 programs today. So pick up your phone, call us up. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Whatever it is that you're struggling with, maybe it's a issue with a family member or a coworker, someone at church, your neighbor, let's talk. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Like I said, we'll be here for 2 hours, and we're going to begin with Esther, who is listening to us in Los Angeles. So Esther, if you can just stand by for another minute or so, we'll come back to you here on New Life Live.
Here at New Life, we want you to have transformation. And so we have created the New Life courses, and you meet weekly on Zoom with a coach or counselor. You're going to have teaching as well as that group connection, because we know how powerful that is. We hear that all the time about our intensives, that they love the information, but the group process is so powerful. And many of you have been hesitant to participate because you're not sure, the timing, the price. The New Life courses are going to meet you right at that area of need. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful, and it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us.
Embark on your journey of personal growth and self-discovery in April with a New Life course. Lose It for Life, Grief Recovery, or Divorce Recovery. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Are you ready to get unstuck from whatever it is you're stuck in? Do you need a new outlook on life? Give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. New Life Live. It's what we do here on the program Monday through Friday. And we're going to begin with Esther, who is in Los Angeles. She's watching us on YouTube. Hi there, Esther. And of course, you can listen to us there in Los Angeles on 99.5 KKLA. Hello, Esther. Welcome to the program.
Hello. How are y'all doing?
We're doing great. Great to hear from you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I've been looking forward to this for like a couple of days.
Okay. What's going on?
So let me give you what's going on. So me and my fiance met in January after an 8-year separation from each other at the Dream Center, Los Angeles, during the wildfire relief efforts. And so, when we saw each other after not seeing each other for 8 years, because we were dating before that for about 2 years, and I was living with his family out in Hemet, San Jacinto area, Riverside County area, and so it was it was so mixed feelings. I did not know how to, I kind of just went numb when I saw him, we reconnected because.
I can picture music playing all of a sudden out of nowhere. This orchestra starting and you guys running into each other's arms.
So wait, Esther, before you go on. So you dated for 2 years. You were even living with his family for a period of time. And then 8 years of nothing?
8 years of nothing, total separation. Yeah, wow. Total nothing at all.
Wow.
Nothing.
Talk about timing.
Yeah. Yes. So that's what. So then we were both I just had gotten out of another 3-year relationship when I was living with another man's family, and so I just got out of that relationship, and I was just okay, what's going on, Jesus? I was just, obviously I was going through that, right? And so I see him we're volunteering together, and he comes up we're sorting out men's and women's socks, underwear for the relief victims of the fire in LA. And so then we saw each other, and I just he didn't recognize me right away, but I recognized him right away. And so we just hugged each other, and he thought I was implanted by the enemy because my dad told me you were in a relationship, so I thought you were trying to get me off of course because I'm focused on Jesus. But we realized that we were I was single and he was also single, so we it was a no-brainer for the both of us. So we're engaged. So we've been engaged for a week and a half. We just had the engagement party last week. So we just need a lot of advice, especially since we know each other kind of, but we also I have seen the transformation in his life as he has seen the transformation in my life through the power of the gospel. And we just I would just love any advice y'all have, or anything y'all I know the story's crazy, as a testimony of itself, in and of itself. So just it's just a lot of I don't know if there's any unforgiveness still in my heart towards him because how we broke up.
Yeah, Esther, I am curious about that because right now there's been a long break. You guys have reconnected, and so you're remembering all that you were attracted to in the beginning, right? But I think it's important to review what happened to cause you guys to break apart. Now, it could be immaturity. It just wasn't God's timing. And you both have grown, like you are saying. But what specifically, and I think there does need to be kind of some forgiveness there on each side and hearing one another out in terms of what transpired previously. Because if that's just overlooked and it's like, oh, well, we're just better now, it'll come up later.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yeah, we talked a little bit about it, and because he went through the Dream Center discipleship program after, like, because he was like part of his testimony, like, it's on the Instagram of Dream Center LA, so I can, like, I wish we had like interactive communication, but I could post it on the YouTube comments. But so if you guys want to check the comments, but like his testimony's on there, but like he was in jail and like he got shot twice and stuff like that. He was a drug addict, stuff like that. So he said
those would be reasons to break up.
Yeah, those were like the main reasons. And then I just called my family, like, and I was like, I just called my uncle Musa for help, and I was just like, hey, I need some, like, he put it on his credit card, but I was like, I need to come back to California, like, me and, you know, like, I just told him, like, I didn't tell him about what's going on, but, like, well, I did tell him. Obviously, he knew that me and Steven were together, and obviously he knew that I was in a danger zone, so he's like, okay, I'll buy you a ticket back to California, and then, so he bought me a ticket back to California, and then I had to, like, rebuild my life on my own. I started, like, working, like, corporate jobs, like, retail jobs, like Walgreens, I had to, like, find,
Esther, let me just ask you, so he's rehabilitated in terms of drug and alcohol use? Is he sober?
Of course, yes.
Is he working a program?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah, he did the Dream Center discipleship program, and then he did Connections and then Transitions. So he was in Dream Center LA for 3 years. Okay. And now he works at BC Fitness. So Dream Center hired him on. So he works at the gym.
Great.
So he works at he's the front desk.
And was his conviction and jail time due to the drug use? What was that about?
It was due because, like, I think he was in Encino. Yeah, it was like due to, like, a Grand Theft Auto, like something like that, while he was on drugs. Yeah, so he has a huge testimony. Yeah, he has a huge testimony about God's power and strength in his life and his mercy over his life. Yeah,
we've enjoyed hearing this story so far. I mean, just lots of great.
Yeah.
Well, Esther, you ask a great question. What do I do? How do I work on this relationship and whatnot? And by the way, it is a great story. And by the way, I actually went by the Dream Center yesterday. I live not
That's
too
so
far,
nice, huh?
and it's beautiful. And I love what the Dream Center does. And I love that your fiance went through the 3-year program, because that really makes a difference. You can go in for a short time, and sometimes it doesn't have the effects, the long-term effects, but it means he's been doing the work, and that's great. You know, I say this on the air a lot of times: where there is no counsel, the people fall. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety.
Amen.
In the world of premarital counseling, in the world of engagement, there's an interesting study, and this is where this applies to you guys perfectly. There is a 31% better chance that if people get premarital counseling, premarital education, that their marriage will stay together. Now, both of you guys you're carrying some baggage into it. I don't know your story, but it's a great story, but that's still baggage. And so there's red flags and yellow flags and all this kind of stuff. And how has he worked through it? And so when Jill started, I love this, because when Jill started, man, she went right to what's going on with him. Has he been through this? Well, that's the kind of conversation you want to have with a pastor who does premarital counseling, or a counselor who does premarital. You know, there are great books out there that can help you all through it. So don't just plan the wedding. Plan the marriage. And the way you plan the marriage is by making sure that you and I can't remember his name, Stephen, that you and Stephen get the kind of premarital counseling. And because of the background of what has gone through, that's probably even longer. Like I wrote a book called Getting Ready for Marriage. And in that, I challenge leaders who go through it. There's about 40,000 people right now going through that book and workbook. Well, what's fascinating about it is I challenge them to do about a 6 time, meet about 6 times. I would actually suggest that Esther, you and Stephen maybe even go a little longer. And it is a discipleship program. It's a discipleship program to make sure that you're getting ready for marriage. And what you want is for them to bring up the kind of issues. As I looked over at Jill, I just smiled when she went right there, because that's what you got to do. There's a section in there on red flags and yellow flags and all that. We got to get all that stuff out, because sometimes a person can go through a discipleship program. I'm not saying this about Stephen because I don't know, but they can go through a discipleship program and they didn't even realize it. But yeah, they are still addicted. They're addicted. They're a sex addict. I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying you find that out through sometimes, blunt honesty, integrity, authenticity. So I think part of your answer is to make sure that you have someone who's much wiser than you and who's a pastoral counselor or a therapist, take them through it. I paid for my kids to go through therapy. That's how bad Kathy and I worked to those kids. You know what? They say it's the best thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
It's the best gift.
Therapy, and there are even a lot of churches put on classes.
Exactly.
So that where they go through lots of different material that is so helpful. And you know what, Esther? We are more than our resumes.
Yeah.
It's a matter, lots of things happen in life, lots of circumstances that are not good, from a lot of poor choices and just things that happen to us. But it's how we learn from that, and move forward. Yes. And do we really dig in and do the work and move
you got to roll up our
towards the Lord,
sleeves. That's
right?
That's what engagement is for. Yeah. It's not literally just to go plan a cool wedding. It's to actually, even if we bring up some of the baggage or whatever, we've got to walk through that. If we don't, we won't heal.
Marriage doesn't solve anything.
No.
Right? In fact, it will highlight and make things worse in some cases if you haven't done the work. So you just need to be open and talking and not idealistic.
Esther, have you guys already set a date?
So we had our engagement party last week at Madre's Brunch in Bellflower, California. It's it's a little brunch spot. If anyone's in LA, shout out to Madre's Brunch.
Thanks,
You're
Esther.
awesome, Esther. Oh my God.
But so we had our little engagement party, and then so he's talking with, right now I asked him to talk with his pastors at Dream Center, and so he's talking with the pastors so we can see who can marry us. So we're looking at maybe a 2-month engagement period, maybe sooner. So yes.
Okay, so is 2 months enough time to get some counseling and therapy, do you guys think?
I don't know. I understand your eagerness, and you guys have history together. It's not like he's someone brand new, so that is different. I think that's a quick planning for a wedding, depending on what you're doing. But you really don't ignore the counseling. That's really important, and I think it can start pre-wedding, and it should continue in past the wedding date, past the ceremony.
Yeah, no, exactly. And hopefully the good folks at the Dream Center, because it's a wonderful program, they get that, and they get you, and they get Stephen. And so, in a good way, they're going to help you think through it. If you were walking into my office, I would want to spend half of the first conversation, why 2 months? And maybe there's a good reason why it, and that's probably not for us to talk through, but you could sure have that conversation with whoever they put you in. And if they're not willing, I don't think this is going to be the Dream Center, but if they're not willing to give you, several sessions, then go find those sessions on the outside as well. But get the help you need.
We want to send Esther a book from the New Life store. There's a new one here that I see. Are you guys familiar with Created for Connection by Sue Johnson? You guys know about that one? Or is there another one that you would recommend?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's a therapy book. So,
okay.
Sure.
We'll do that one? Okay. So very good. So stay on the line and we will send that to you. Thank you for calling in today on New Life Live. Yeah. Now we're going to go to Kate in Philadelphia listening on WBYN. Kate, we're coming up to the break, but let's at least hear your main question for us today.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. My mom is 62, and I am trying to create very specific intentional boundaries for her. It is a challenge because she doesn't always acknowledge or respect those boundaries in my life. So I'm trying to, how do I create boundaries with someone who doesn't really see where I'm coming from And how picky do I need to be, especially when it pertains to my daughter?
Can you give us an example of something that she...
Sure.
Yeah.
It sounds so silly, but my mom has a big heart, and I love her for that, but she gives my daughter pretty much everything or anything she wants. So it's become a huge issue inside my marriage. It's something we talk about on a regular basis, and I really feel for my husband. I'm worried for my daughter, and I love my mom. I want a relationship with her, but she doesn't hear me. So
this is interesting because we always hear that, you take the kids to the grandparents' house and they're going to just spoil them rotten. Right. But you're saying that it's a little too extreme?
It is, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we will talk about that when we come back to the program here. It's called New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez here with Doctors Jill Hubbard and Jim Burns, and we're doing 2 programs today, so plenty of time for you to get on the phone here at 1-800-229-3000 so that you can talk about whatever it is you're going through. Maybe you're a newly engaged couple. Maybe you're thinking of calling it splits. Well, we're here to help you today at 1-800-229-3000. Can't wait to talk to you.
Hello, everybody. It's Becky Brown, and I just want to encourage you to be part of our spring match. It's like planting seeds in the lives of so many people. Every gift that you give to the match will be doubled up until $500,000. Isn't that amazing to think about all the lives that God can touch through your generosity and through this matching gift campaign? I know you want to be part of this match, and you can do that by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can go to newlife.com/donate. You can also text the word match to 28950. I can't wait to see what God's going to do through your generosity. It will make a difference in the lives of so many people. Thank you in advance. To give to the match, text the word match to 28950, or you can go online at newlife.com, or you can always call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're speaking to Kate in Philadelphia, and she's got an issue with her mom who spoils her daughter rotten. You could say grandmas will be grandmas, but Kate says it's gone a little too far. Hey, Kate, thanks for holding through the break.
So, Kate, let me just start with something that we usually clarify when it comes to boundaries. I think there's 2 issues here. 1, your mom doesn't hear you, but 2, remember that the boundaries aren't for her, they're for you. They're your boundaries. So this is what works for us, for me, this is what doesn't. So you're clarifying that for yourself and then letting the other person know that that's not going to work for you. So, right? But at the same time, it sounds like you've tried doing that. So what's not working in how you're communicating it? And I do hear your love for your mom, and I love that. That you're not making your mom bad, that you see her big heart. And I wonder, because grandparents do spoil, but at the same time, some people, their love language is giving gifts. And I've known lots of people who have been told they can't give any gifts, and it's heartbreaking for them. When gift giving is a form of connection, you're thinking about the person, you're wanting to give them something, and it creates like a connectedness. So finding a way to fit in with your family values and still, like you said, maintain a relationship with your mom. It may be that, okay, Mom, we're doing something very different than I had when I was growing up. And so we're trying to not be overindulgent with our children, and that, communicate that it's a heart of love for her and that it's fun for her. You don't want to take away her joy, but maybe some of the things she gets, she keeps at her house. Right? We're only allowing so many toys into our environment. Our house is too small, or whatever the reasons. We've just decided this is what works for us, and we want to try this style of parenting. So we're going to ask that anything over, so many gifts for a birthday stays at your house.
Jim?
Yeah.
Sure.
Kate, I think that's great advice that Jill has given you. I want to go the other way. I want to talk about your relationship with your husband. He has concerns, and I was thinking, grandparents do spoil their kids, and like yesterday I was with one of my grandkids, and he goes, "Papa Jay, I want ice cream." And so guess what Papa Jay did? He went into his daughter's thing. "Do you have any ice cream in here?" She goes, "Why?" I go, "I know we haven't had dinner, but I was going to give him a couple of spoonfuls." And I got an eye roll from my daughter, and that was it. That's spoiling. And we kind of, and she's living with it, and I have her permission, I guess. She didn't tell me I was rotten. But what I'm asking about now is the relationship. If you look at a hierarchy, you have your relationship with God, you have your relationship in your marriage, then your children, and then others. And so the marriage, what is causing your husband to say, "This isn't working for me"?
I think probably because he sees our daughter is, we only have one daughter, and she's the only granddaughter on both sides, so she's spoiled.
Sure.
And we love that they spoil her, and we spoil her because she's such a wonderful kid, and she loves the Lord. So, we love loving on her. Right. But I think he probably sees the pain and the stress from me, because I know that my mom probably has some deeply rooted wounds from her childhood, and that's why she kind of overcompensates and performance orientation to gain my daughter's love.
Right. Give me an illustration of how she overcompensates. What does she do that kind of gets you all stressed, so then your husband gets stressed?
I think for Christmas we kind of talked about Christmas presents on both with both parents and grandparents, and we kind of had a game plan that what she was getting, sort of, and she kind of came in on Christmas morning with way too many gifts.
What would she react to if you said, "Mom, I love the way you love our daughter, and you have no idea how special this is for us. When we ask you, specifically not to go overboard, and we kind of gave you some specifics, can't say it today, what would she react? And because you kind of went overboard, and as much as I know you did that with great intentions and love, it's not what we're trying to play into her life. How would she react to that?
I don't think I've ever worded it like that, so I think that is something that I need to work on, and how to say it in a loving way, because there are times where I set the boundary, but I don't do it in the most loving way.
I think you also have to be specific, though. Specific, but if you can do it with love, because her motives are beautiful. How great she wants to overcome, and maybe she does have reasons from her past, and you can get into all those psychological things. But just on the top level, it's just simple. She's trying to spoil her granddaughter, and that's what she knows how to do. At the same time, you and your husband rule the roost here. And so it's important for you to share those boundaries, but also acknowledge, I think it might be helpful if you acknowledge her love and her desire, because she's not doing anything that she sees as wrong. She just needs to get in your game plan.
Right, but also it's a mirror to also say, when I see you go beyond what we've talked about, I feel not heard by you, and I feel hurt, actually. So your good intentions then, for me, do not feel good at all.
Yeah.
Hey, Kate, how old is your daughter?
She's turning 6 on Saturday.
Okay, so early happy birthday to your daughter, but I'm also wondering, should Kate have a talk with her daughter and say, you know, we might tell Grandma not to give you so much stuff, just to kind of prepare her? Because I'm thinking maybe Grandma's thinking, well, that's how I show my love, and we don't want the daughter to think Grandma doesn't love me as much anymore. I don't know. Break time. We'll be back on New Life Live.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, the Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information, not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, so we're going to talk to Paula, James, Mary, Sarah, and you. Call us up, 1-800-229-3000. But first, let's wrap up with Kate, because I mentioned something at the close of the break there, and during the break, Jim said something very wise,
thoughts.
Dr. Jim Burns.
Well,
yes,
I actually
please.
think we have to do things that are age appropriate, developmentally appropriate.
Yeah.
And a 6-year-old doesn't understand boundaries.
Okay.
You know? Well, they need to start learning, but that's kind of the beginning of it. So I don't think we do that, because I think that plays a little bit of pressure on the 6-year-old, because now they like these gifts.
Yeah.
And you don't want to pit them against grandma or against mom
or
and dad.
having to say no to grandma in that way
Right.
when
Yeah.
grandma's the adult.
So I think this is the time where you have the adult-to-adult conversation and leave the younger kids out. When they get older, that might be more appropriate.
Okay. And we're going to send you a copy of Boundaries, so if you'll stay on the phone, Kate will get that in the mail to you. 1-800-229-3000. That's the number Paula called from Dallas, Texas, listening on KWRD. Welcome, Paula, to New Life Live.
Thank you for taking my call.
You bet. We appreciate you listening. And what's your main question for us today that you want to ask?
I want to know what is the next step for me in resolving an issue with church, probably 2 church members who happen to be teenage friends first, and then we became Christians.
So you've known these people since you guys were teenagers? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've known each other since you were teens. You've all become Christians now. You're all following the Lord, but you've got some kind of disagreement going
all in the
on?
same church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What has happened is my sister is now in a nursing facility, so I'm like a full-time, 3/4 of a time caregiver for her. So I haven't been church attending in about almost 3 years.
Oh.
And whatever church I go is out there. And now I've started teaching, part of my gift. So I started, teaching with them, the elderly. I teach. And, of course, there's a main pastor over that, so I'm under him, actually. And anyway, almost 3 years went by, and I didn't hear any contact. They knew what was going on, but I didn't hear from the church or from them, especially them. How are you doing? How's your sister? Is there anything, anything like that? And it really started bothering me. And when I did address it, I addressed it through a third party. I kind of bent it, but it was a sister that I trusted, okay? I really trusted.
Okay.
But it was my way of venting without actually coming out and screaming and hollering. And so she listened to me, but she told them, but I don't know how she told them or what she told them. But one of them immediately called me back. So that's when I knew as soon as we hung up, she called them. And so it got into a shouting match. So I stopped that.
Oh.
But I don't think they understand the issue isn't a birthday card or, even though I like to receive cards, that's not really the issue. The issue is no contact. Where are you guys?
Right. What do you guys think?
And you considered these friends, or were they close friends? And
at one time in our Christian walk, we all served the Lord together in the church. We were all very active.
Okay.
And then I left the church. Well,
do you think there was, Paula, do you think there was hurt over you leaving and maybe some feelings of rejection that you left? Because that can happen in churches.
Yeah, but we still kind of talked, and then I came back to rejoin the church. And when I rejoined, that's when my sister fell ill. And as soon as I rejoined, then I was out.
Okay.
And they knew why. They knew why. It wasn't because I didn't want to come to church. They knew why I was devoting my time.
Yeah. This could be as simple, and maybe not, especially because of the shouting and whatnot, but this could be as simple as getting together for coffee, and all of your put all of your hurt aside, talk with somebody else about that, but just saying to them, and maybe one-on-one or with both, just saying, you know what, I think we probably had some, you probably heard things because I did this through a third party or whatever, and I should have sat with you guys and just, I was kind of hurt. I was kind of hurt that you guys didn't reach out to me. Maybe I should have reached out to you because I've been in more of a needy time. I love you. We've been together for so long. We've had such good times together. And then all of a sudden I felt like, you dropped me. And, something as simple as that. And then because people match tone with tone. Paula. And so let's say that you got, you got upset and whatever, and then she got upset and whatever. Well, that's not going to help. The other thing, there's a principle. This is Jim's principle on third party. No bueno. No good. Because now you're not in control of how that got said to them. If you had you've been with these people for a long time, you can do that coffee thing. I find, and again, I'm not standing up for the church because I think churches need to be better at caring, but I find that the church sometimes doesn't come through. Sometimes they just simply don't know. Other times they get busy or distracted. And I think that we have to be able to say, here's what my need is. Even if you called your pastor and said, right now, here's a need I'm going through, and I really could appreciate your prayer. And it may not be the pastor. Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first thing I did, I called the pastor and I asked if somebody
or the care minister.
Sure. And they didn't come through, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just asked if somebody would just kind of straighten up my living room so that I could better care for my sister because I'm tired of looking at it. I'm not asking for a deep cleaning.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it's cluttery, like just kind of put things in order. Just the living room, not the kitchen, not the bedroom.
Okay, but that's a little different request, Paula, to ask somebody to come over and.
Yeah, I mean, some churches have that kind of ministry. Some don't.
Maybe they do.
And maybe this one doesn't.
Yeah.
No, I guess they didn't.
Now, is this an older sister? Did you tell us?
Yeah, she's older.
Okay.
She's like 10 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
But we grew up in the same house. You know, she was the teenager and I was the little girl.
Yeah. Well, and this is where a lot of times, too, in churches, because it's a group, and churches are mainly made up of volunteers, there's nobody feels responsible, or they think someone else is doing it. So this is why within churches, and I hear this is where it broke down, you need to have friends and connections so that you call on your friends to help you. I mean, I love going to the church, but sometimes we put too much on the pastor thinking he's going to meet all the needs, right? And so, you know, talking to individuals and that's where,
I mean,
you're in a Bible study and you share a prayer request and then someone says, okay, how can we help you?
Right, exactly.
Okay, then you can express that kind of need.
And you might have, the pastor might be able to say, hey, do we have anything in our church where they come and help folks like me who could even just straighten up? Is there any kind of a thing? And then I could call them. Because again, typically I look at pastors, and I love pastors, I am one, but talk about people who are over busy. And sometimes stressed. So they may be good at saying, call so-and-so.
Sometimes they're not good delegators. So, but that's what
you're
saying.
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not going to do it, then they're going to either have to delegate or we just go, you know what?
Oh, that's one of my gifts.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you in a good way, because you weren't afraid to ask, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. This may be kind of a perfect storm. You know, the 3 years ago, you're good friends, but you've built roots with your good friends. So roots mean you can have a shouting match, and then the way to repair that is to in a common, loving way, and take if in that conversation. You could even say, "Hey, you know what? I got a little hot on that, and it was more out of hurt, and that's my problem, and I'm sorry." That, honestly, I'm sorry, goes a long ways when you've already built roots with people who you grew up with. And, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for reconciliation with that.
That's what I want.
And really hoping that if it's not this church, that there's reconciliation with your church. And we have to understand churches are as dysfunctional as all of us families, so we can't put them up as perfect.
Well, and to reflect on our own expectations. Yeah. Sometimes we expect more, and we don't really express it in a way where then the need is met, or it can't be met.
Right.
From where we're seeking it, right?
And we need to be specific with what our requests are.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Do you think the Heart Handbook might help our friend here?
Sure.
Or is there another resource? Okay, stay on the phone and we will send a copy of that to you here on New Life Live. Thank you for calling in today. James, Mary, Sarah, Michael, we haven't forgotten about you guys. Stay on the phone. We're going to do 2 programs today, and we would love to talk to you when we come back from the break here on New Life Live. By the way, have I told you about the matching gift that is going on right now? You've heard all the people that we've been helping today. We can help them twice as much when you help us right now with a matching gift up to $500,000. Get more details at newlife.com.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
At New Life Live, we believe in drop and release. So on Tuesdays, we drop an episode of the Life Recovery Today podcast, and we also release an episode of the Life Recovery Today TV program. You can get more details about these at liferecoverygroups.com. And when you're there, you can also check out the video tab for encouraging testimonies of how life recovery has changed lives. You can also call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to get plugged into one of the 680 plus life recovery groups, including many who meet online. So again, that's 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverygroups.com. To the phones we go. Here is James in Kentucky listening on Pure Radio. Thank you, James, for calling 1-800-229-3000. You're on with Doctors Jill Hubbard and Jim Burns.
Hello.
Hi, James. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yes. Need kind of a solution to an issue that's probably going on for a while. I've got a daughter that's I affectionately call my grandbaby maker, and both my daughters, it was a real strange, difficult upbringing since I wasn't around them. As much when, but anyway, when they were growing up due to, the other parent, and very difficult fight for 14 years or so.
You were divorced?
So anyway, yes.
Okay.
So anyway, so now both my daughters are older. One of them ran into some problems, a handful of years ago, and was separating from the father of her two children.
Okay.
And I, brought them up to where I live closer, and my two grandchildren, just basically raised, was with them almost every day. So I became very, very, very attached, and, her brother, I love them more than probably anybody, anybody that I know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the question is she's involved with another gentleman. They have a child together. And so I don't really get a chance to see them at all. It's almost like withdrawals. And I'm wondering if there's something that happened in my past that is making this incredibly difficult. I have the same situation with the women since my divorce, but I believe it started much farther ago when my mother. I was abandoned at 1.5 years old. So I'm just looking for resolution. So
Yeah.
I don't
So
wow, James,
cause so many problems.
Yeah.
James, with your daughter, why are you now not seeing those grandchildren? What's
what changed?
It sounds like you can't define why this happened. Was there
Well, there was a birthday this past weekend, and my daughter was, real busy. She couldn't set up anything for the birthday, so I, try to do stuff for my grandkids that are just really fun. I'm kind of like a young, fun grandpa.
Yeah.
Anyway, I planned all this. Really looking forward to it because I can't hardly ever see them. I think one of the reasons is their relationship is that they are on a real tight time schedule, but it feels something more than that. It's just like I'm left out, and I don't think I'm an overbearing grandparents. I mean, anytime my daughter needs me to pick them up after school or anything like that, I'm there. I'm pretty resourceful. Both my types of income, but I'm just wondering if there's a solution to
right. So James,
me yes.
So I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's good that you're doing some self-reflecting to figure out what am I doing to cause this, and even you definitely have some wounds from early in childhood that may set you up a little bit more to personalize things as rejection or feel abandoned, right? And that the connections have been really good for you. I'm wondering, though, if, if the new guy coming in has maybe taken that space where maybe you were filling it while daughter was divorced and single. And so now she's shifted and is organizing around the new guy or his family. And then also, where is their mother in all of this? And do your daughters feel responsible for keeping you and your ex-wife separate? And so if mom's starting to come around, if mom's coming to the birthday party, then maybe dad isn't invited. And sometimes that creates a problem.
Well, no, the mother, that's a dynamic that's, she's on husband number 6. So she's,
okay.
Yeah, that's a whole,
okay.
Yeah, that's not a concern at
okay.
all.
Okay, just checking it out.
I know what you're asking, but
yeah.
No, that's not.
They're not leaving you out because mom has come back around.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And yet at the same time, your daughter's not shy about inviting you to pick up the kids if there's a problem. Is that right? So she's not. Well, you're not estranged.
Right. It's a very restricted.
Yes.
Know. Mm-hmm. I mean, it makes me so incredibly happy to be with my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
I mean, incredibly happy.
Yeah.
And but it's like instead of me taking them, instead of me taking them for a full day, if she gets off early, get them back right now. So I feel a little.
Well, and how old of kids are we talking about now?
10 and 6.
10 and 6. Okay.
Do you think maybe you crossed a boundary at some point that she had put up,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I don't know. Did she specifically say, like, don't do this, and you did it anyway because you're a fun, young, loving grandpa? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's where, I feel like partially that is it. Yeah.
And could you have a conversation with your daughter about that? Like,
unless she wants something she doesn't, she won't return a call. That's been going on for a while, unless she's not at the house. If she's not around him, I'll get a call. Like if it's on our way home from work or something like that, I call and just, she sees that I call, she'll call.
Okay, well, we're running out of time here. We've got only a few seconds left, so what's our final advice?
So real quick, James, I would do what I can to try to, like, maybe meet her for coffee. Yeah, I know she's very busy, but meet her and try to connect with her and come from less of a place of hurt, but just wanting to understand what has shifted and how you need to adapt to be in their lives.
And we're going to send you a copy of the book, Doing Life with Your Adult Children, which I'm holding up in front of my face right now if you're watching us on YouTube or Facebook. But James, stay on the phone and we will send that out to you. Sarah, Mary, Michael in Mexico, stay on the phone because we're going to come back to you as we record another episode of New Life Live. And we're going to keep the lines open, so call us up to talk to Dr. Jim Burns and Dr. Jill Hubbard, 800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video and please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.